Welcome back to the Animation Reevaluation Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Lizer. With me is Celeste. Hey, Celeste.
Hey everybody, it's me, Celeste.
It's a me. When will the cringe stop, Celeste? When will it stop?
It will never stop. I swear. I think like I'm gonna try to come up with like outlandish like hellos for each episode. Let's see how long. Well, let's see how long I can keep it up.
uh, I've known you for years, so I can tell you this: you can keep things cringe pretty long.
Ouch.
So what are we doing this week, Celeste?
We are talking about the Dragon Prince.
The Dragon Prince. What's
Yay!
that?
A dragon prince is a dragon who's a prince.
Whoa.
But we're actually talking about a series. It's a Netflix original series, and it's actually created by the people who created Avatar: The Last Airbender.
What?
What shocker! And which is awesome because they I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people who are fans of Avatar: The Last Airbender.
I've never heard of
Like
it.
yeah, shut up. Yeah, I do. I mean, The Legend of Korra
The
is
fuck is
like in our
that?
is, is in our banner. Korra's in our banner. And actually, if you look really hard on our banner, on the top of it, I have a screenshot from one of the episodes of The Dragon Prince, but it's hard to tell because of the saturation I use because it's dark. But yeah, it's up there. Dragon Prince is somewhere up there.
I don't know what any of that means, but okay.
Photoshop talk, my friend.
Yeah.
Well, photo editing, not just Photoshop. But yes, but it was by the creators of Avatar: The Last Airbender. That's why too. When you watch the series, they are also introduced like with each chapter goes by moon or like sky, like how the Avatar: The Last Airbender would be like book one Earth or like book two air,
Yeah,
whatever.
so it's book
I know,
one, moon, chapter, blah blah blah.
yeah, just like how Avatar: The Last Airbender and Legend of Korra were. Anyways, so yes, this week we watched The Dragon Prince, and unbeknownst to me, I thought this was going to be a series that Lizer didn't know, but apparently Lizer watched it already.
Oh, you know what was the funniest thing too? Is
What?
like you were shocked when I mentioned that at the end of the last podcast that I was like, oh yeah, I've watched that. I don't remember where I left off, but I've watched it. When I went back on to refresh myself, Netflix shows like, oh, this is where you left off. I only had 3 episodes left, and I just dropped it.
Wow. How dare you?
No, let me not say dropped it, because that makes it sound like I intentionally gave it up. Like I just got sidetracked by other things and just never went back to it.
I finished it. I'm caught up to where, it last ended.
Yeah, I've been spoiled on a few things that like they made me happy because they were things I wanted, but I wanted to find out about them naturally through watching the show. But oh
It
well.
happens. It happens. It
Yeah,
happens to the best of us.
yeah.
But yeah, so this week's was The Dragon Prince. And like I told Lizer, I rewatched the episodes, but for some reason nothing stuck to me. I don't. I guess I've just been having a off time, so nothing really has been like staying with me as much. And so I'm gonna do my best.
Listen, I feel you. I've had a rough week, so I'm right there with you.
So yeah. So let me try to remember. Uh,
It's an animation.
it's an animation. And so when it first starts off with it starts off with a narration of the world that the Dragon Prince is. And so right off the bat, somebody's narrating about how I forgot what. I don't even know if they mentioned what is the world called. I know there's a continent and it's like split up between Zadia and Katalis, but I don't remember them like
Yeah,
saying a
I don't
world
recall them
name.
saying like the world's name.
Yeah, like they just based like even the continent, like they don't even say what the continent is called. They just said they live in a continent and it's like they're split up. To the east is Zadia and to the west is the human kingdom. Well, anyways, so the narration starts off and it's explaining how the world has magical properties. And it is like the primary ones is the sun, the moon, the stars, earth, sky, and ocean. And those were the main primal magic sources. But one day a human found dark magic, and this is like it's forbidden. Like no one should know this. Like how dare he? How dare humankind do this? But you know, it's the humankind. That's what we know. You know what we are known to do. You
Yep.
know, it's fuck shit up.
Yeah, exactly.
And so so the magic or the I guess the other race there is elves. I'm trying like I don't remember there being like any other specific other races besides elves. I mean, of course there's other creatures, but I mean like humanoid. I've only seen elves. Like that's what my memory recalls. And so the elves are like, you know, some elves have, you know, magic from the sun or some elves. So it's like the sun elves, the moon elves, you know, the elves from the stars, the earth elves, the sky elves, and the water elves. And so
Long
that's
ago, all the elves lived in harmony
until the human
until
attack.
the Fire Nation attacked.
Basically, that was basically the narration. Like they like literally like they all lived in harmony until the humans attacked
Yeah.
with their dark magic. And so the literally the elves got fed up and were like, "Nah, we're splitting up. Like you guys go to the west, we're gonna be in the east. Split it up. We Gucci, you know, like just keep it that way." No, no, but the humans were having it. The humans were like, "Nah, like we're not gonna put up. I mean, come on, humans. We don't settle. We don't settle. We have to aim for the best. We gotta go for the sky." And so humans being, you know, all butthurt about using dark magic and basically ruining their friendship with the elves, they're like, how dare they do this to us? We were just, you know, getting their magic and, you know, crushing it and using it for dark magic. Like how dare they? So then they go off war with the elves and the other creatures. They slay the dragon king, and they get the egg. Like they get the dragon egg, which is the dragon prince, and it is said that they destroyed it. And so then after that, you know, I don't know how many years passed because, like, honestly, the timeline really confused me
Yeah.
because when they were explaining this, I thought this was something that happened like hundreds and hundreds of years ago.
And then meanwhile, it's like it happened last week.
Yeah, so the timeline really confused me because honestly, like, it felt like this happened like hundreds of years ago. So anyway, so then
I think the way it's
it
supposed to
opened.
be is that like humans started using the dark magic and everything hundreds of years ago, and like tensions were
Uh-huh.
high, and then the attack on the Dragon King happened like just a couple
Yeah,
of years ago.
yeah. But like I said, I thought everything played out like hundreds of years ago. But anyways, and so then it opens up with we are introduced to one of the characters. His name is Callum, and he is drawing or he's painting pictures. You learn right away that he loves to draw,
Yeah, this
and
is
it's
Callum
during a
right here.
thunderstorm. He is voiced by the same voice actor as Sakura.
Do you think they made him good at art because Sokka was bad at art?
That's what I think too, to be honest.
Oh, this is actually
I,
Callum here. Here we go.
That is Callum right there. Prince Callum, or also known as the Step Prince.
Yeah.
Um, it's during a thunderstorm, and then one of the thunders wakes up someone who's sleeping in the other room, and we find out that that's his brother, Ezrin. And so Callum just tells Ezra and just go back to bed. There's no reason for you to be up. Just night nights. And so then after that scene, it goes to the forest, and you see a guard patrolling, and then he hears like a snap, like something in the bushes, like rustling, and then he is like, "Hark, who goes there?" And nobody answers. It's just quiet. And then he's like, "Hark! I demand you answer me." And then he spots them, and then the elves, and they're like hidden in the bushes, but because of the thunder kind of like reflects off of them, and he sees them, and then he like jolts, and he's like, "Bye, Felicia, you know, like I ain't gonna get killed."
Oh God.
So he's like, "I ain't gonna get murdered." He's like, "This is my first day on the job," and he's like, "I didn't sign up for this shit." And so he takes off running, and so then they send one of the elves starts going after him, and then she goes for a pursuit, and then finally like the elf like catches him, and he's like, "Spare me, please." He's like, "I don't get paid enough for this shit, you know, I'm just patrolling." No, he don't really say that, he's just saying, "Spare my life." And so the elf like puts the swords to his neck, and like the lightning flash reflects off of her, so he gets a good look at her face, and they literally just like stare at each other like quietly, to the point where the guard's like, aren't you gonna, like, he doesn't say it, but you can tell he's thinking it, like, "Aren't you gonna like kill me or something?" And then she just stares at him.
She's just
and
standing there, menacingly.
And so then like he like crawls like from out from under her, and then like he books it. And then she like just stands up, and she just like looks, and then like she goes back. And then and she the cuz we find out that she's a moon elf, and moon elves are really stealthy, and so they're good for assassinations. And so she goes back, and she like before she goes back, she gets berries, and she like puts them on her blades to make it look like blood. And as she's going back, she's like, "Yeah, I like," and they're like, you did the job?" And she's like, "Yeah, with my blades. Yeah, I killed him."
Yep.
Like, don't you see with these blades? Don't you see them stained with blood?
On my blades.
Literally, I mean, it's like they just give her a cloth, and they're like, you know, "Good job." But she's lying. She didn't kill him. And then she goes and she cleans her blades. And so then the guard runs back to the castle, and then he goes to, I guess he's the king's advisor, and he so happens to be a dark mage. And so he goes back, and then he tells him like, "Hey, there's people trying to come and assassinate the king." And then he's like, Varen. I mix him up because there's this other character that I watch, and his name is Varen, but he's Viren, and I always mix him up. But yeah, he's Viren. And so he tells Viren, "Oh, you got the one with the bug. That's cool." And so anyway, so so Viren goes to the king's chambers, and it's like early in the morning, and then the king's like, he's like, "You do realize that you're not supposed to be waking me up this early in the morning, because I would like chop off your head." But he's just joking around, because they buddies, they chums, they're compadres.
Good old King Harrow, he's a man of the people.
Bow. Anyway. Anyways, and so he tells them, you know, like, "I'll come back, you know, I'll give you some time to get up." So then he comes back, and he's like, he's like, "Why did you wake me up so early in the morning?" He's like, "We have assassins coming after you." And he's like, "Oh, we've dealt with assassins before." And then he's like, "These are moon shadow elves. Like, bro, like, it's not Gucci. Like, it's not Prada. So
they're fucking crazy.
Got a problem.
Dude. They got berries and shit."
Well, they don't know that yet. then he tells them, and so he tells them like assassins are coming, and then then he's like, okay, like let's try to find them, and so we are introduced to two other characters. Well, we were introduced to them a little bit earlier on, which are Varens. Oh my god, I don't want to say Varen because Varen's the other character.
V
Byron,
guy.
V guy, yeah. So Byron, there we go. So Byron, like, he has two kids. He has a daughter named Claudia and a son named Soren. And Soren
Somehow
is
he had kids.
huh?
Somehow this man had kids.
He in his youth he was not bad looking.
I didn't say he was bad looking.
It's his bad attitude.
If
Anyways,
that's what you want to call it.
Dude, like he has he's
got a monster
no
dong.
He no bueno.
No.
He's no bueno. Like, Father of the Year award is not going towards him. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, that Claudia though.
Claudia's a gem. She's honestly a gem. But anyway, so you find out Callum has a thing for Claudia. He likes her,
Yeah.
and she is following in her father's footsteps by becoming a dark mage herself. And Soren is the captain of the Knights Guard. He's the captain of the Knights Guard. And so they're both talented individuals. I mean, they're teenagers. They're not kids, but they're talented people. And so Varen sends his son Soren to go look for the elves, and he gives them like a moth that's supposed to track them. And so he sets free the moth, and Soren and the guards go following it, and they can't find them. And so then they give up and they turn around, and as they turn around and leave, one of the elves, his name is Runen. He put he put like shut up.
Holy shit.
Runen. I hate you. And so anyway, so he did a spell which disguised them as like stuff in the forest, like trees and shit. And so like the spell came undone, and he's like, "You lied to me. You said you killed the guard. Now they know we's here. We's here to take down the king." Bish. So anyways, and so, you know, he is pissed off, and everybody in the team is pissed off, and so they're like, "Screw you! You're off this mission." And so then Soren goes back, and then he's like, "You can't find, you know, whatever." And then that's it. That's the end of episode 1.
Yeah. And then episode 2 has the opening with the elves, and they're all like doing their own individual thing. Like, one is putting poison on her blades, another one is sharpening his, and they're all just giving Rayla the cold shoulder. That's the female elf, by the way, that didn't kill the man. Her name's Rayla. They're giving her the cold shoulder, and the leader, who I'm not even gonna try saying his name. Because
you made fun of me trying to pronounce it. Say it.
I don't know what it is. Do you want me to look up his name real quick?
Runan. Runen. Shut up. Runan.
Anyway.
By the way, the elves have like Scottish accents. I like to say.
Yeah.
It sounds like Scottish, right?
Yeah, Scottish.
Which is badass.
So anyway, he pulls her aside and basically tells her that she's of no use to them because she can't complete her mission of, you know, taking a life. And basically what Celeste said before, that she's off the team. She gotta take this one out on the bench. He's pretty harsh to her, but I can understand where he's coming from given the backstory we've gotten and what little we've seen of them. But she's too headstrong, and just like as soon as he's out of sight, she just books it. She runs off on her own. She's like, she has to prove herself. So back at the castle, Callum discovers what a primal stone is from Claudia, and basically it's like a crystal ball, but it houses immense raw magical energy from a single specific element. The one that they have is Storm, right?
It's
So-
Sky.
Sky?
It's Sky.
I don't know. It has electricity in it.
No, because it's sun, moon, sky, earth, ocean. Oh, what was the other one? Because it doesn't go by like, so sun, moon, stars, earth, sky, and ocean.
Oh, okay. So,
So
they have
that's
Sky.
Yeah.
So he's like all amazed by it. Suddenly, though, Claudia has an epiphany and runs to her father to tell him that she's thought of something. We cut back to Callum, and he's realized that his little brother Ezrin is gone. And just when he's about to go look for him, a guard tells him, "Hey, the king wants you." And then it cuts back to Rayla. There's a lot of cutting between them in this episode, just to show like what they're each doing at a specific time. So it cuts back to Rayla, and she's just doing like hardcore parkour through the forest, and she climbs up the steep cliff that the castle rests on, which I actually have a picture of. This is, let's see, this is the kingdom
it's basically
of
her being
Catullus.
badass.
So
Catullus.
their kingdom sits on just like this island in the middle of this like river, and it's just nothing but like cliff all around. So usually the only entrance would be like a bridge, but she just like came in from the forest and scaled the side of the cliff. And
She badass.
to the audio listeners, you can watch live on Twitch or the recording on YouTube if you want to see the visuals. Anyway, so she climbs up. She gets to the top, takes a breather because goddamn that was a big climb, and she just like looks out at the forest where like her comrades are just waiting it out till nighttime, because at nighttime they get stronger because they're moon shadow elves.
Moon shadow elves, they special.
Yeah. So back to the king and Callum. The king is basically having a heart-to-heart with Callum, saying like, I know I'm not your real dad, but I've always looked at you as my real son. He doesn't, it seems like he's not able to say like, I love you, son, I'm proud of you, like that kind of thing, but he wants to. But it's like a conflict between his position as a parent and his position as king. So he ends up giving Callum a sealed letter with like, old school with the melted wax stamp on it. He tells him to read it after. He doesn't say after what, he just says Callum will know, so, after he's assassinated. And Callum's like, you're not gonna die, we have another way to get past this, you can do this and you can do that, and they're just basically arguing semantics, and it just ends with a hug, and they cry a bit and move on. Cuts back to Rayla, and she actually runs into Callum. And he just like books it to get the guards, and she has to give chase to him. And she obviously she catches him because Callum is not he's not the most athletic person.
Yeah.
Yeah, from what we've been shown so far of him in like these first 1.5 episodes, is he just can't do anything right except paint, basically.
Which is fine.
Yeah. But, he's upset
no
about it.
judgment here. We still love you, Callum.
Yeah, I love the guy. He's upset about it. He has issues with his own personal worth because of it. So she chases him down and catches him pretty easily. And that's when it's revealed that she's not there just to kill the king, but she's also there to kill Ezran as well, because the humans killed the Dragon King and destroyed the Princess Egg. So Callum is like, he didn't do anything wrong. They're like, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, basically. So Callum says that he's Ezran. He's gonna take the spot. He's gonna get himself killed. We cut to Viren, who approaches the king and says he has a plan to swap his soul into another body because he has this like magical two-headed snake, and he's gonna use dark magic to swap his soul. And King Harrow just does not want anything to do with dark magic. And back with Rayla and Callum, Rayla's like holding him down basically, and they're in like a room that's connected to a hole, and right next to where they are, there's this giant painting, and Ezran's voice comes out of it, and Callum's like, shut up, and he keeps calling him Callum, and Callum's just, shut up. And he basically ruins Callum's plan by saying he's Ezran, but he's able to distract Rayla with Bait, who we didn't mention yet. Bait is this guy right here. He's a glow frog, so he can like shine bright and blind people for a short amount of time. So they blind her and run away. And of course we cut back. The king is denying Varen's plan. He doesn't want to rely on dark magic. He actually reveals to us that it was actually Varen that destroyed the Dragon Prince's egg, and it's basically his fault that any of this is happening right now. Cut back to the boys.
Like I said, it's Chickasaus.
Yeah. Cut back to the boys.
I thought this happened like 100 years. Sorry.
Celeste, shut up. Cut back to the boys. And they actually access like this oh my god, don't do it, Lizer. I was gonna do the secret tunnel. Secret tunnel.
Should've, you still did it.
Yeah, I know. So they access that, and it's hidden behind a stone puzzle that Ezran has memorized the password to. So you have to like hit a stone, then a rock, then a stone, then a rock, and like it's a certain order you have to hit them in. And a retractable staircase comes and leads them down to like this. It looks like a mad scientist lab, basically, in a fantasy world. So Callum's like, are you sure she won't be able to find us in here? She won't be able to figure it out? And Ezran's like, yeah, it took me like a month to figure out the password. And then we see like the stone staircase descend with Rayla on it. And Ezran's like pissed off. How did you figure it out? It took me so long. She's just like, I pressed all the stones with the jelly handprints on them. Because earlier he had stole the jelly treats. And then, bum-ba-da-da, we get a cliffhanger. The egg is there, and it's safe and sound.
Ba-bum.
Bum-bum.
Ba-bum. And then that's when Rayla's like, this changes everything.
Yeah, basically.
So then it cuts to the next episode, and it actually doesn't start off with the egg. It starts off with King Harlow standing, and his soldiermen putting on his armor. Soldiermen and women.
Soldier
He's
boy.
not sexist. Hey, soldier boy.
Oh my god.
Don't get me started on Soldier Boy. But anyways, so they're putting on his armor, and then once they're done putting on his armor, they walk up a flight of stairs, and he goes, and as they're walking, like a guard like stops, and he like stays planted right there, and so as that keeps going, they do that to like he goes in his room, and then some guards like stay outside. Like it's outside the door that goes into his bedroom, and then like some guards go in, and they walk out to I forget what it's called, like the balcony, and so they stay there, and then cuts back to Rayla and Callum and them, and then Rayla's like, oh my gosh, it's the Dragon Prince, it changes everything. And so I'm like, he's actually, he Gucci, like he's
Oh my
Gucci.
god.
By the way, we are not sponsored by Gucci, but hey
Yet.
Gucci, if you're out there, hey Gucci, if you're out there listening, we're open. So, anyways, and so she's like, this changes everything, and like I can stop this. Like, we got to stop the assassination, because what's the point of going out with this? Because the whole reason we're doing this is because we thought they killed the Dragon Prince, and the whole time she's like that, like, the Dragon Prince was innocent, like he's in an egg, like he has nothing to do with this. And so that was basically her, like, the whole spiel between both of them. And so even Callum's like, yeah, we can stop this. And so they're gonna go, and this is happening. And so then it cuts over to Claudia and her dad, and they're walking into the room that Callum and Ezra and Rayla were just in with the painting. And so they walk in and they're having a conversation. As they're having a conversation, she looks at a tapestry, which is a painting of King Harlow and Byron. I'm always gonna mess up the name because I just think of Baron from another series. Viren. So a picture of Viren, and she's like, you look so happy, and he's like, I was really happy because when he just after the coronation, like a few days later, he made sure that I was included in the picture because he could always count on me and that I'm always going to be on his side. And so then Claudia's like, she's like, and that's how it is still till today. And he was like, yes. And so then Byron's like, you know what, I'm gonna go talk to him one more time. And she's like, what are you gonna say? And he's like, I'm not gonna tell you, because if I tell you, you're gonna try to stop me. And then Claudia's like, well, shouldn't I just try to stop you anyways? And he's like, no. And he walks out. And so then he takes off. And so then she stays in there, and she's kind of like reflecting, and then she noticed like something on the floor. And so when Callum was in the room with Rayla and them, Harlow had given him a letter, and when Rayla like tackled him, it fell to the floor. So she finds that letter, she picks it up, and so when she like looks around, she noticed jelly fingerprints on the painting, and so she opens it and she finds the hidden stairwell, and then she uses dark magic to like light up her hand and walk down. And so she walks down, and that's when it goes back to like Callum and Rayla like talking about like they need to stop the assassination. And so once they come to agreeing terms, like, let's do this, Claudia shows up, and she like has like the primal orb with the sky, and she's like, Ezra and Callum, get away, like, don't worry, I got you. Like, if she tries to make a move, like I won't miss, I'll hit her. But Ezra's like, no, like, we gotta stop this. And so Ezran gets Rayla to follow him, and so they take off running. And so Claudio is about to do magic against them, but Callum pushes her, like he tackles her, chains her, and then steals the primal orb and like books it. And so then Claudia is right there, and so she gets like a candle, she does magic, and she summons shadow wolves to go chase after Rayla. And so they're like running, and they're trying to like escape. So then as they're running, they're noticing that something's following them, and so Rayla's like, you guys run ahead, like I'll try stopping them. And so she's trying to stop them, but she can't because there's smoke. And so then Callum's like, okay, like I got a plan, but I'm not sure if it's gonna work. And she's like, just try it anyways, like what else do we gotta lose? And so Callum does, he remembers Claudia doing magic and like an air spell, and so he copies her, then he does it. And Rayla, and so he blows away the wolves. And so Rayla's shocked, and she's like, I didn't know you're a mage. And he's like, I'm not a mage. And she's like, you are a mage because only people with magical properties are able to do magic. And so Callum's like, wait a minute. Like his whole life, he didn't think he had anything special about him. Like he just like all he had was that he could draw.
Yeah.
And so he becomes excited and he's like, "Oh, I'm a mage." And like he starts shouting and she's like, "No one likes a loud mage." And so then they take off and this is where my memory starts like I don't remember
Oh
anything.
no.
And then oh my god. So then uh so it gets, if I remember correctly, uh so they go back, so then it cuts forward because she's like, okay, so we gotta stop this assassination. So she manages to run into Runan, and she tells him that, we gotta stop, we can't do this. And he's like, what are you doing here? You go back, you shouldn't be here.
You're supposed to be
And
grounded.
yeah, she's supposed to be sitting on her stump grounded. And she's like, no, the Dragon Prince is alive. And so then she gets them to come out with the Dragon Prince. And even he's like, holy crap, the Dragon Prince is alive. But then he's like, but we can't stop it because we are bound. I guess when Moon Shadow Elves are going to do like a mission, they bind themselves with the ribbon. And once they do that mission, so they're bound to do that mission. And that ribbon around the wrist, the longer they have that ribbon, the tighter it gets. And the tighter it gets, they lose like their blood circulation and they can like lose that body part. And he's like, we're bound, we have to do this mission and blah blah blah. And so she's like, no. And so then she tells Ezran and Callum to escape. And so she starts fighting Ronan. So they're like having this epic fight. I think it was so epic.
Yeah, it
because
was
like
really cool.
because like the moon comes up and then you see like their powers potential like heightened and stuff like that.
Yeah, like their
And
skin
so
changes and their eyes change and everything.
yeah, and they actually become like invisible too. And so they're fighting, and then they're kind of like going back and forth. He's like, we can't, like, we got to do this. And she's like, no, like we can't, like we got to break the cycle. And then Renan like stops and he's like, wait a minute, you're just stalling me. And then she's like, really? Would you care to discuss that? And so what I like about this, it has those smarky remarks, that they didn't have. They did have in Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
She's a snarky little Scottish lass.
She is, and I love her. Favorite character.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. So then he takes off, and then Renan chases after him, and then it goes back like Lizer says. There's like a lot of cutscenes, like not cutscenes, but they're always like scenes.
Yeah, jumping between events.
Yeah. So then we go back, and Varen enters Harlow's room with the basket, and then Harlow's like, "Why are you bringing that in here?" And so then he's like, Harlow as a fellow brother, like he tries to persuade him to accept his solution, but Harlow's like, no, like you're disrespecting me, like I've let you get away with a whole bunch of shit, but enough's enough. And so he's like I've let you get away with a lot of stuff. And then Varen's like, what do you want me to do? And he's like, bow to me. Literally, he's like, get on your knees. And so Varen gets on his knees. And then it actually cuts from there. Like we don't see anything else that happens in the room. It cuts there. And then it's just it's Rayla, and it goes back to Rayla, Callum, and Ezran. And Callum's like, I need to go talk to the king. And then Ezran's like, just call him Dad. He wants you to call him Dad. But he's like, but if you're not ready to call him Dad, it's fine. It's like, whatevs. So then Callum takes off to try to go to him. And then as he reaches the door, Viren walks out, and he's like, what are you doing here? And then like Callum like says like, oh, I know you're a traitor, and the Dragon Prince isn't really dead, and wait till my dad hears. And he's like, what makes you think that your dad doesn't know? and so then he has like the guards like get him, and he's like, I'll scream, and then like Viren does like dark magic on him, takes away his voice, and then that's when like the shadow elves come and they start like fighting, and then because one of the guards kind of like accidentally pushes Viren like in the battle, he like drops the thing that like had Callum's voice, so the voice came back to him, and then Callum was like, I can't get to him, so he takes off, and then yeah. I think that's it, if I remember correctly.
There's a little
Yep, that's
more
it.
like they, it cuts to Callum realizing that he has to leave,
Okay,
and
they realize that he has to leave, and then Ezra's like, were you able to talk to him? He's like, no, I wasn't. But he's like, but we gotta go. Like, it's up to us to do it. And then them three like run to the forest.
yeah, as one of the elves shoots like this, signal arrow into the sky, as his band dissolves off of his wrist.
Only one does.
Only one band dissolves off of his wrist, and then he's captured, and it just cuts.
Because they did two. One was, I remember, one was to kill the king, and one was to kill the prince.
Yep. But yeah, that's where your episode would cut off right there.
Yep.
So then my episode picks up, and
I was about to say, then they end up taking him captive.
Yeah, I said that.
I didn't catch that.
But then my episode opens up like you got to remember this was like the dead of the night that this happened. So they didn't travel very far when they left. It literally opens up with them in a field where you can still see the castle from where they are. So they didn't go very far. And the boys are asleep, and Rayla is attempting to take her band off, and it just does not work. They show that a funeral is happening for the now dead king, and all the townspeople just look like they lost a dear friend. So that gives us a little insight into what they thought of him. And we learned that the funeral was actually being rushed by Viren, because usually it's custom to like parade the body around for a week and like have people grieve and everything. Also, apparently Claudia invented coffee. Did you catch that?
She invented. She calls it brown morning juice.
Yeah, and it's just coffee, but it's a potion. She gives it to Soren, and he's like, "Wow, this is really good." I love that. But yeah, apparently she invents coffee. Anyway, Varen claims that the princes are dead. When a priestess asks him, like, she's like, "Where are the princes? We can't continue without them." And he's like, "Oh, they're dead." So the priestess refused to proceed with the ceremony. So Varen actually has Claudia set the coffin on fire, and he declares that tonight there will be a coronation. In the morning, Rayla teaches Callum about the primal stones more than what is her name? Claudia? More than Claudia did. She like describes the elements of magic and all that. And Callum realizes after she like draws out the symbols and everything that at the lodge that they're supposed to go to be safe, there's a cube with the same symbols that Rayla just showed him. So now he's dead set on going to that lodge, not because he wants to feel safe, but because he wants to get that cube and see if, it'll do anything with magic. He mentions that like he's never exactly been good at anything specific, but that when he was able to finally do magic and Rayla called him a mage, it felt like his life finally had purpose. Which, big mood right there. So as they walk to the lodge, Ezran complains that he's thirsty. He's a little kid. How old would you say Ezran is?
I want to say like he's maybe like 10, maybe 11?
Really? I think he's even younger than that.
Maybe 8 years old.
Yeah, 8 sounds about right. Because I'd say Callum is probably around like 14.
No, he states that he's 15 and 6/4.
6
No,
what?
remember, because he's like, I think maybe 14.
He's 14 and 5/6.
And 5/6. There we go.
Yeah. So
that's how he said it.
So Ezran's a kid. You take kids on long trips. They're gonna complain. I'm thirsty. I'm hungry. Blah blah blah. So he's saying that he's thirsty. So Rayla pulls out this like vial she has with red liquid in it and tries to offer it to him. And Caleb gets like really defensive. He blocks Ezran off. He's like, "Sorry, we don't drink that." She's like, "You don't drink what?" And he's like, blood." She's like, "It's not blood. It's moonberry juice." It's like, is that what you think of us? You think that we're like wild animals who run around killing things and drinking their blood? And like it's kind of played off comedic. He's like, "Oh no, of course not. No, it's just the things I've heard." And like he kind of like laughs about it, but it actually does a good job at like painting a picture of the prejudice that humans have towards the other races. So they finally get to the lodge, and Rayla opts to go in alone, so it's quick. And she's like, "You're sure there's not going to be anybody here?" She's like, "It's the Winter Lodge. It's not winter. There's not going to be anyone there. Blah blah blah." So she goes in, and then Ezran's like, "Hey, weren't we supposed to come here anyway? Because Dad said that, there was going to be people here for us." And lo and behold, a whole squad of soldiers shows up, led by
Squad rollout.
led by Amaya, who's actually their aunt, and she's deaf. She communicates using sign language, and she has an interpreter who like says everything that she signs.
Gren.
Yeah, and here I have a picture of Amaya. Amaya's pretty cool.
Amaya's cool, and so is Gren.
Gren is just like comedic, basically.
Yeah.
Here she is. This is Amaya.
She's badass too.
So she's like a hard as nail general, but when it comes to the boys, she becomes like a doting motherly figure, and I love it. Like it's just like a flip of a coin, just like two different sides of her. So she like knocks down the door to the lodge and starts like looking around, trying to see if there was anyone in there. And Rayla is just like hiding on a banister in the ceiling, and Callum's like, he's like, "There's nobody here except us and the armed guards." Just so Rayla can hear him and be forewarned. So she's hiding from them. Ezran is trying to opt to tell their aunt about Rayla and everything that has happened, but Callum refuses, stating that elves and humans are enemies, and that she probably wouldn't believe them anyway. Which, speaking from my first watch through of this, when I, like, just having been introduced to her character right then and there, I was like, no, she would 100% take your word for it. Like, I felt in my heart that she would be like if they sat down and actually explained everything and not left anything out, she'd be on their side.
I agree.
So Rayla manages to avoid the guards because she's still trying to find the box with the symbols on it. And the symbols that's on the box, like I said before, it's the symbols of the magic. Here's what the box looks like. And it just looks like, a child's play block, basically. So she finds it, and then Amaya finds her. And she just, like, almost kills her immediately. But then chooses not to because as she's about to, deal the final blow on Rayla, a guard comes in and is like...
Gren.
Was it Gren?
It was Gren.
I didn't even realize it was him. Because I was, like, focused on, is Rayla okay?
Like, I told Liza this, it's like, for some reason, episode 5, like, I don't remember, but I remember all this stuff.
Yeah. So he tells her that the boys are missing. So instead they just opt to knock Rayla out so they can tie her up and interrogate her. You know the service elevators that are in some, like, older homes where, like, you put a tray of food and it goes, like, up and down to different rooms?
That, and it also reminds me of, like those old day laundry chutes too.
Yeah, it was basically the same thing. The laundry ones are just bigger. The boys are, like, near one of those, and it connects to the room that Rayla is being interrogated in. So Amaya leaves 2 guards there to watch Rayla, and the boys are on the other side of that elevator thing at the top, and they lower bait down in it, and Callum's like, "You really think this is gonna work?" And Ezran says, "Oh, she knows what to do." So as soon as Rayla sees bait, she's like, "Say hello to my little friend," which is the, code word for him to light up. And he blinds the guards who try to blindly attack her, but she's able to use that moment to free herself and knock them out. So they all start running. She meets up with the boys on the stairs. They exit the lodge, but they're pretty much immediately cornered outside. And Callum makes up a lie about how Rayla will kill them and drink their blood unless everyone lets them go. They don't want to take the chance though, so they shoot at Rayla, and she manages to dodge one of the arrows. I think it like hit her hair and like pinned her hair to like a tree. She had a braid.
Yeah, she had a braid and it ripped off the braid.
Yeah, and then the other one she parries. It like splits it in half or something. Mm-hmm. So quickly she grabs the boys and puts her blades at their necks and tells the guards to stand down because she can kill them in like half a second. So, you know, the aunt being the leader is like, okay, she puts her hand up because, you know, she can't speak and tells them to stand down. So they run off and they actually find a boat because they're like right by a river, and they get on the boat and they sail away, and the guards are watching, and they're told, you know, they can't know that we're following them because she'll kill them. Rayla is super upset at Callum for the lie he told about her killing and then drinking their blood.
Rightfully so.
Yeah. So she tosses him the cube and she says, like, it's nothing more than a children's toy. I hope it was worth risking everyone's lives over it. And he has this moment where he seems like really guilty about that. And he drops it by accident, but it lands next to the primal stone and it starts to glow and react to it. And then suddenly it just cuts to Varen, and he's trying to gain power as king when Amaya just shows up and has Gren tell everyone that the princes are actually alive. And that's it for that episode.
Hey. Fuck.
Episode 5.
Episode 5, which is a blur to me. Let me try to remember. It starts off with Viren going somewhere, I guess like a hidden room, and then like he opens something. I'm trying to remember what he opens, and there's like a whole bunch of butterflies. And by the way, Viren is like not looking that Gucci, you know, he's not looking that good. And he gets like a butterfly, and some stuff happens. He gets called, and when he turns around, like, he looks refreshed. And then as he walks away, you just see the butterfly dead. So it's hinted that he's like he's using the butterfly's powers to like rejuvenate him, because dark magic does take a toll on their body, from what I remember. And so they kind of like start losing, like, they don't look as human, like they don't look human no more. And then it goes to Callum. He has the block, and so then he's kind of like experimenting with it. He's like, he's putting it towards like things, and so to see what the primal stone will like, glow off. And then he has it like by Rayla, it shows like the moon or whatever, and so he's like messing around with her, and it wakes her up. I don't remember the rest.
You know what's funny? I can't even help you because I was like, oh, well, this is Celeste's episode. I'm not going to rewatch that one.
I'm just like, I don't like, she goes back to so she gets annoyed, and I guess she goes to the woods, looks for food, and she's still trying to remove the ribbon off. And then, so then she comes back, and then they're like, okay, we gotta go back, like, we gotta start, heading out. And they want to go on the boat, but she's trying to be like, let's not go on the boat. And they're like, why don't you want to go on the boat? And she's just like making up excuses to reasons why she doesn't want to be on the boat. But she loses, and so they end up going back on the boat, and so they're on the river. And as they're drifting down, she's really sick. And then Callum's like, are you okay? And she's like, no, I'm not okay. Like, there's a reason why I'm on the floor. She's like, because I love being close to the boat. Just being sarcastic. And then he's like, oh, let me ask you 5 questions. And she's like, I would prefer you not to. But he's like, come on, it'll just give you distraction. And so he's asking her questions, and it's actually kind of working. And she's starting to feel better, but then he notices there's like a waterfall up ahead. And then she's like, to like, let's get off, you know. And he's like, we can't, it's too late. And so then they're like going through the river, and they end up flipping over, if I remember correctly. Or that's like, I think it cuts off. It cuts off to like Viren, like when that's happening too. I don't remember. Like, I don't remember. I feel like it cuts off to Viren, and he's in the throne room and he's talking to Amaya, and Amaya's like, "How can you do this? It's like the boys are still alive and here you are trying to take over the throne." He's like, "It's not like that. If anything, people are gonna try to take advantage of Katalis. So no, somebody needs to be on the throne." And Amaya's like, "No, we gotta look for the boys." And he's like, she was blaming Viren that he kind of like plotted this to happen. And then he's like, "Oh, how dare you, say that when Harlow was my best friend." And then so she's like, "Well, if you care about him so much, why aren't you looking for the kids?" And he's still like on about like somebody needs to protect. He's like, "You know what? I don't even want a throne." He's like, "If you want to become queen, you become queen." And she's like, "The throne stays empty." And then she like takes off. And then I'm trying to remember what else happens. Also, then that's when the whole bolt thing that's when it shifts back to the whole bolt thing, because it goes back and forth. It literally goes from Callum and them to like Callum. So the bolt thing happened after that, and so then after they start the whole waterfall thing, it goes back to where Amaya is like praying to her sister's shrine, and Viren shows up, and he's like, "You know what? You made me see like my faults and blah blah blah." And she's like, "Oh, that's kind of like bullshit." And she signs it, and Gren's like interpreting it, but he doesn't say shit. He says like bull droppings. And so then they talk, and then she's like, "I'm gonna do a search party." And then he's like, "Oh, what about the breach?" And she's like, "What about the breach?" And he's like, "Well, somebody has to guard it." And then she's like, "Okay, fine, like I'll go back to the breach, but like I'm putting a search party." And she's like, "I'm entrusting it to Gren." And so then Gren becomes the leader for the search party. So then it goes back to Rayla and them. And so then Callum, Ezran, and Rayla finally make it to a calm area after enduring the rapids. Then they notice Bait is in the water. And so then they go and they try to get Bait. No, and then so they notice that there's like a big creature, and so then Rayla even though she hates the water, she goes and she fights the monster, and she like gets Bait and she saves him. And then that's when Rayla was like, "Yeah, I hate the water, like I'm afraid of the water." And then she's like, "Oh, it's like, then they see like the boat drifting." She's like, "Oh, look, our boat, it's drifting away. It looks like we can't continue on the boat." And then the boat like magically comes back, and then Callum like kicks it away, and he's like, "We'll just continue walking." So then it goes back to Viren, and then Amaya leaves, and then Viren looks at Gren, and he's like, and then he Soren, his son, is like, "Oh, Gren, I have some bad news. You're not the leader anymore." And then Gren's like, "Wait, what do you mean?" And then Viren's like, "Oh, like let's talk about it." He's like, "I'll meet you at 9:00. And he's like, "Okay, fine." He's like, "I'm free anyways. I'll meet you there." And so then Gren goes, and then you just see Gren's face, and then you just see Viren walks in. He's like, "Oh, sorry, I'm late." And then he walks in, and he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry." He's like, "Oh yeah, you're just 5 minutes late. It's fine." He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "So, do you have any issues?" And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "I only have like 2 issues. One, why am I off the team? And two, why am I tied up?" And so then it zooms out, and they imprisoned him. And so then,
just nonchalant.
yeah. And so then that happens. He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "You're not in charge," or whatever. So they're basically imprisoning him. And then Claudia comes, and she's like, "Oh, your other prisoner like refuses to eat." And then he's like, "Oh, if he wants to eat, then he'll just be hungry." And then that's it.
Okay. So that's it
That's
then.
that's 5 episodes.
Yeah. So, how did you first hear about this show?
Actually saw an advertisement on Facebook about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was just I like the Netflix page, and so it just like one day I just saw the trailer and it was like coming soon, and like it really like I got intrigued by it. And so like I literally when the episode like dropped on Netflix, I went and I quickly watched it.
So it was pretty similar for me. I saw the thing on Netflix and I saw like the trailers and everything. And I was like, oh, that looks cool. And then it was like the team that brought you Avatar The Last Airbender. And I was like, holy shit, I have to watch this. And then I didn't for a while. Like season 2 came out before I watched it. Because I just forgot all about it. And what actually brought me back and made me want to watch it was porn.
What?
it was porn.
I don't want to ask.
It was a comic about Rayla and Callum just banging it out, and she's like, "You got a huge penis. What is that? Like 5 inches?" He's like, "Oh, it's like 6." She's like, "That's so big."
Oh my god. Move on.
Nope. Yeah, move on. I just thought that was so funny. Like, elves are nowhere near that big. But yeah, that's how I found out about it. And like yeah, it was porn. Ha ha ha. That's funny. But like they kept it very in character, and I was like, these characters are actually pretty funny. And then I sat down and watched the show, and I was like, whoa, I love this. Now, is there anything you want to talk about as far as the actual show?
All in all, this is really such a great series. Like I said, when you're the first season is very the framing is really off, and that was like a lot of complaints people had. Like it's really honestly like it's jagged. Like not gonna lie, it's really jagged, and
Yeah.
there's like, but like the story, like I kept watching because the storyline and the humor of the cast, just like it was good.
I mean, it
So
didn't
I
really
was
bother me because, I mean, I sat through the first season of Ruby.
I tried and I tried watching Ruby, and that was so hard.
It's amazing to see the difference between season 1 and like season 7.
I bet. I mean, because that's how it was too with the Dragon Prince. When you watch season 1, you watch season 2, it's like so much better.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, but seriously, I love the chemistry the characters have with each other. Like even Viren, like he's evil, like point period blank, he's evil, you know. But he still has, you know, charming characteristics to him.
Yeah, he has like a charming aura.
Yeah. And you know, same thing with his kids, you know, like, you know, Soren, like Soren does not seem like a good guy, like cuz he bullies Callum.
Yeah.
And but like too, like even Soren has some charming quirks to him as well.
But then,
Claudia,
like, even then, like, the way he bullied him, like, at times you were like, okay, that's just straight up bullying. And then other times you were like, oh, he's like a big brother to him.
yeah, and then he like I said, it's hinted that Callum likes Claudia,
Yeah.
and like Soren catches on, and he makes Callum looks good in front of Claudia.
Yeah, and spoiler, because I did see most of season 2. It's kind of hinted that she like has like slight feelings for him too, but I don't think that goes anywhere. You know what I do want to talk about though?
What?
Fan theory that I heard.
What's the
'Cause-
fan theory?
And like I don't want you to confirm nor deny anything that you might have seen in like season 3 or anything like that. But
Oh, just go.
the king, right? He had a
Uh-huh.
bird. He had a bird named Pip, and the bird would like react to people and make noise and everything. After he dies, the bird is silent. The bird does not do anything. Here's the bird, by the way.
A beautiful bird, by the way.
There's a fan theory that says the king is not actually dead, that he did go through with the body change thing, and he's actually in the bird.
I heard that theory too.
That is so out there, but it's like within the realm of things that are possible at the same
Uh huh.
time. And as much as I would like it to be true, because I would like to see more of the king and see him reunited with the boys and all that, I don't think it is because, you know, everyone knows about Ririn and his dark magic. It's it's um it's pretty well known that it's just him and Claudia that do it, and neither one of them were around at that time to have done the body swap.
Mm-hmm.
So I really doubt it, especially since they say like you have to have magical prowess to do magic, and the king showed no, symbolism of that at all.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought I'd bring that up. I thought that was a cool little thing to share. Now how about a rating?
5 out of 5.
Okay, that's pretty good.
No, seriously, like this is one of like this series. I love this series so much. I like every time when a season would come out, like I would rewatch from the first season. Like I said, which is funny because like I don't remember anything, but like lately I just been like I don't know, like I've been out of it. Like even there's like things like I'll talk about like an hour ago and I would totally forget it.
Yeah.
But like I love this series to the point where every time when they release a new season, there's 3 seasons, so every time when they release season 2, I would rewatch it from season 1 and then watch season 2. Release season 3, we watch from season 1 to finish season 3. Like I said, the characters are very charming. I love their dynamic, and they when feelings are hurt, like they address it. And I love the like they have a lot of LGBTQ, in it as well.
Yeah.
Different races, it's like I like it. There's like a lot of things in it.
Yeah. For me, if I was just basing it on these first 5 episodes, I'd give it like a 3.5 out of 5. But knowing that it gets better, like it's already good, but knowing that it gets better and knowing what I know from the next season and so on, I would say that it's like a 4.5 to a 5 out of 5.
It's a good series, people. Watch it.
Yeah, and then like Celeste said, and we touched on it earlier, like things with race, they don't like ham-fisted and shove it in your face, like, oh, this is racism and it's wrong. It's like, yeah, we know that racism is wrong. Well, most of us know that. You don't have to shove it in our face. You can do it like nonchalantly. You can show the world changing and all that. You don't have to be like, this is happening and it's horrible.
Mm-hmm.
So that they do a really good job of it in this show. I've
really
noticed
do.
recently, like, I want to say within like the last 10 or so years, like cartoons and just children's shows in general have done a very good job at incorporating things like racism and like sexuality and stuff like that into their shows, without it feeling like maybe kids shouldn't be watching this. No. I was about to ask you, would you continue watching it? You're done with it.
I'm caught up.
Yeah. Me,
what about you? Are you
I'll continue watching it. I mean, that was the plan from the start, even before this podcast was a thing.
I'm actually gonna continue it and finish it again.
Yeah, I mean, now that it's back on my like top of line of my Netflix, it'll be there to remind me. Cause honestly, the whole thing was just my memory shit. So like, I got busy doing stuff at like work probably or something, and I just forgot about the show. I literally had 3 episodes left in the season when I stopped. Like, what the fuck? So I'll probably just finish off this season and then start season 2 over and then watch season 3 because I haven't seen anything from season 3.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll definitely complete it. Now, we have some news for people who watch every week, whether you watch, whether you listen. We're going to take a break for next week because both of us are actually going to be pretty busy with like real life stuff. So instead of doing, hey, let's watch 5 episodes of this thing and then comment it on it afterwards, we're going to use any spare time we might have during the week, which, we'll be pretty busy. And we're actually going to watch a full 13 episode season of a show. And we'll comment on that. So are you ready to find out what the show is?
I'm excited to find out what the show is. I mean, Liza told me about this when we were talking about when we were talking about next week and stuff. When he told me about like what anime, he said that he told me about the anime and I don't remember. So I'm excited to see what it is. Excited and nervous.
It's nothing like huge or monumental. I think it's an anime that everyone should give a try. It's sweet. It is called A Place Farther Than the Universe. It's like a slice of life, like cute girls doing cute things type of thing.
Is it an all female cast?
Yeah. I mean, if memory serves correctly, there are like male side characters, but all the main characters are females. And I had watched it back on Netflix like a couple years ago. I don't know if it's still on there. I'll check. And I basically like ran through the whole thing in a day, which is at that point it wasn't something I was doing anymore with anime. 'Cause, life. But I ran through this in a day, like easily, and it was very cute, very sweet, funny, but also had some moments that were like, ooh, okay, I felt that. And it's just about some girls that they want to go to Antarctica and play with penguins. Yeah, and they work hard to achieve that dream.
To go play with penguins?
Yeah, I mean, there's more to it than that, but you gotta watch it.
Leave the penguins alone, man.
It's actually a really good show. I liked it a lot, and I'm looking forward to sitting through all 13 episodes again over the course of this next 2 weeks. Ugh. But that about does it for this week.
Hey.
Oh, this was hectic. This was a hectic week, but we got through it.
Yeah, it's getting kind of crazy right now, but like I noticed like the beginning of the year is always crazy especially for me, is always crazy.
Yeah, I mean, same here. Well, I'm gonna take a much needed break because I've just been super busy all day. My legs are killing me because it was leg day today, so
Leg day, hey.
yeah. But I'm just gonna relax. I am 2 days away from my birthday. I'm an old man. Oh,
Hey,
boy.
everybody, make sure to write happy birthday to Lizer.
I'll be looking forward to all of 0 of those tweets.
Make that one for me.
Tune in the week after next when I pull Celeste tail on the fact that she didn't tweet me. Because she forgot.
I try not to forget. Well, I'm not gonna forget.
Alright, I'll hold you to that.
Well, if it's tweet or text message or Facebook or something, you're getting a happy birthday.
Alright. So we'll see you guys in 2 weeks.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.